What's up, Dan McDonald here. I got a stream over the top of the river. Today we're talking about nature deprivation syndrome. It's the #1 disease destroying human life as we know it. Our separation from nature is our demise, leading to anxiety, depression, hormone imbalance, and a host of other diseases, every other disease, because when you live in alignment with the laws of nature, then you can live in alignment with the law of one. Then the life current flows through you effortlessly, and all the blocks that lead to disease do not take hold. So if you are suffering from anything less than absolute joy, then you have nature deprivation syndrome, or NDD, which is nature deprivation disorder. What is the cure for nature deprivation syndrome or disorder? That's right. Fresh air, sunlight, pure, living, flowing water. These are your medicines. Heal yourself, return to the mother's love, and find the joy. The joy of nature. Woo! Yeah. Part 2. So that was an awesome little excursion. What I do is I'll pick a random place on the map as I'm driving, and then I just go visit it so that I see new things, because I'd have a tendency to kind of visit the same old spots. So every day that I'm traveling on the road like this, doing the most epic road trip of all time, I like to pick a place and just go, that was a new little random spot. Pretty cool little river. Anyhow, just wanted to make a quick video about the nature deprivation syndrome, and that has to do with the food, of course. So I see that the food is basically destroying the vast majority of humanity. They lose their health. I think they're healthy noticeably till they reach about their 20s, and then the bodies just begin to absolutely fall apart as far as obesity, diseases, and other excesses. And then you have the deprivation of the sunlight, which, because the people thought that if they put on the sunscreen that would be a good thing. There's no such thing as the sun causing skin cancer. That's not true at all. It has to do a lot more with other factors, particularly diet. Like if you eat a really wholesome, natural diet, then you won't sunburn. That's a long video in and of itself. But the more natural the food, especially the herbs and also the fruits as well, the rest of it causes a lot of skin disorders. And then you've got the deprivation of the oxygen. I mean, Nobody eats food. I mean, they eat this stuff, but it's overcooked. And I was thinking, I got to make like a channel where I show people how to actually properly cook. They're not going to go in the raw foods. About one in 100 million is like catches on to the fact that all living organisms eat 100% raw living food, you know, at all times. But I understand, you know, human survival, and now, you know, we've got the society, but it's the society that's making everyone sick, you know. And that's basically, you've got nature, and then you've got society and its programs. You've got nature and its laws, and society and its programs. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with creating sources of food for survival as well, agriculturally and whatnot. Of course, I don't eat all my food wild either, you know what I'm saying? In fact, overall, I would say half my diet is wild, which is, you know, uncommonly, unreasonably, extremely rare. And then mostly from the coconuts. And when I say wild, I also mean like fruit trees that were planted many years ago. That's not technically wild food, but the wild food is, you know, more of the nature, the berries and the things like that are spontaneously produced for millions of years. But we've done a lot of cultivation, and I think that's a brilliant thing to have plums and apples and cherries and those types of things. And then that's more of the living food. That's the juicy, living, high water food that's alive. Now that makes a big difference, only because I'm at the hot springs and I can just see people make it to about 20, maybe 25 if they are trying to do a little bit of exercise and a little bit of diet. But when everything is overcooked to death and highly processed, and then the people just eat whatever's there, which I'm trying not to judge, but I'm just saying to the people that want to know, that will affect the expression of your body and your mind. So you've got the food, you've got the sunlight, which purifies everything, the fresh air, which is, you know, not only does exercise build muscle, but then it also detoxifies the system through the breathing network. And then you've got the water, so everybody's dehydrated because the food gets cooked and processed with all these strange different types of salts and things like that then dehydrate the tissues, you know. So there's a sunlight deprivation, there is a oxygen deprivation, there's a water deprivation, and a dehydration massively. That's why, you know, as I continue on this journey and pay more and more attention, the food begins to be more and more water rich as I evolve. Because our bodies are, you know, 85% water in the beginning of our life, and as we mature, it goes to 75, 65, and then by the time we're like 80, we're like 55% water, dry, brittle calcium deposits. So we want to stay hydrated. If we reflect that within our food, and we always eat those hydrating foods, you know, you don't have to be like perfect, and there's no one right way or anything like that. And some of the amino acids and things like that are great. And people like to have their pleasures, but remember, pleasure can be a terrible substitute for the joy that arises from the animals in the springtime when they're eating the living foods as opposed to the hay. When I remember my goats, when I would feed them the hay, they would survive. But when we went out for the spring grasses and they would eat the green grass, they would soon get the aura. I could see their aura around their body, and they would be jumping around, feeling way more better, way happier. And the same thing is going to happen with the human being. So that's why I've continued to promote, you know, living food, raw food, fresh food, high water food with minerals for conductivity. So it's the natural food. And then when you go out in the nature, it'll heal your brain. Now you'll have to deal with all the fears and all the loud noises coming from inside your brain. But when there's no lights, no Wi-Fi, and nothing else, no electricity, and it's just you out in raw nature, which is what I've been doing lately, then you start to really get a hint of why everybody is really in a bad way. You know, they're fine because they learn to live with it, but they're not really feeling their best. And there's a lot of obesity. It's really taken off. You go to the hot springs now, it's so rare to see somebody who's not, you know, morbidly obese or at least obese. You don't really see anybody who's healthy, you know. It's nice to have a little body fat, don't get me wrong, you know, but you don't want to be morbidly obese because of all of the complications that come along with that. So if you are, then you want to start working towards eating real food and getting out into nature, reconnecting again with exercise and the other things we talked about in this video. So nature deprivation syndrome is a real thing. It is destroying humanity right now, and I don't expect anyone to listen. I've given up, but my job is to continue to share the message anyways, just in case there's one or two people that pick up on it and put something into practice. Then my job will be done. I don't expect anybody to really embrace the entire lifestyle as far as, like, you know, all of it, and trying to live in alignment with the law as a you know, as a responsibility to the Creator itself, you know, and also so that you don't have to have diseases and go to the doctor and get your organs and glands cut out and have chemotherapy, radiation, and be on a bunch of drugs and have a bunch of surgeries and have all your vital organs cut out and things like that. So take care of your good health. I mean, we're all going to die, but, you know, you can make great decisions. You're the painter. You know, and I'm just telling people, I'm just giving people a few more ideas of what you can paint on your canvas of your life, you know. And these laws of nature, they're immutable. So you can't really circumvent them. You have to be in supplication to them. You have to be honor those laws if you want to see the manifestation of the fruits of those laws. You know what I'm saying? If you want to bear good fruit and you want to have like low-hanging branches with lots of fruit, meaning just the ability to function very well, then you're going to want to, you know, align yourself with nature when it comes to food, exercise, sleep, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on ad infinitum forever. So, but yet it's so simple. You don't even really do anything. You simply allow, you get out of the way of the mind. You thin the mind out down to nothing. You thin the mind down to nothing, and then the soul energy just moves through, and then it just happens automatically. You're automatically drawn to nature. You're automatically drawn to doing the things that are going to keep you balanced, and you're automatically drawn to the things that are going to help you thrive and stay in a life of joy, happiness, excitement for the next moment. Can you dig it? I know you can. Dan the man. I'm out on a road trip. I'm vlogging every day. Check out the videos on Patreon, because I'm making a bunch of vlogs of all these different adventures, climbing mountains, bike rides, trail running, beaches, hot springs, hikes, everything. Just every day, just having a blast.